the thing about it is when I look at it, I see Victoria Terra, whatever you want to call her. I say, all right, she's getting into MMA right now, so she should slowly work her way up. She's saying, I've been training here for a couple months. Now I'm going to sign with Strikeforce, and I'm going to go into this women's division. I would say go to a local high school gym, an MMA show that has a women fighter on that. Go in there and destroy her, build up a record for yourself, and then come to Strikeforce with a few belts under your belt.
Well, Strikeforce is just it's a promoting body. It's not like they've got this amazing array of women talent. I mean, like in the case of Gina Carano, they would find scrubs for her to come in and get their ass beat by Gina so Gina could stay pretty and look good and be legitimate. They could do the same thing with Tara. I mean, I think it's the perfect move. I mean, she's got her own fan base from being in WWE and TNA. She wants to be a fighter. So she signs with Strikeforce. That just means she's got a place to air her fight. She goes and fights at a local gym. She's going to get paid $100. It's not going to be on TV. Nobody's going to know anything about it. And there is no build-up process for her because there's only 2 women fighters in MMA, in Strikeforce at least, that she would have to like really get some experience before fighting, and that's Gina and Cyborg. So Kim Couture will be fine. That's the perfect opening fight because that's probably the second, like I said, the second biggest women's fight you can make right now because of their star power from their other endeavors. Okay, so she goes in there, she wins that fight, maybe she loses it, I don't know. But if she wins it, then all they got to do is just bring in scrubs for her to beat up until she's had a couple fights. It's the same as her going out to fight in the local gyms. Just they'll be on TV. They'll have a fighter who should be fighting at a local gym come fight her on TV for Strikeforce. You know what I'm saying? They'll just bring somebody like that to her instead of making her go to them, and then they can they can make her a star all the while.
I feel like if she comes on and her first fight is in Strikeforce, and say that Kim Couture or somebody beats her, that's on national television. You don't.
Yeah, but at least you get the one fight out of her. I mean, it's not like there's a big clamoring for Victoria to be a star in MMA.
She doesn't have any fights under her belt. She has no idea what she's getting into, what she's going into, working before a live MMA crowd. Not only that, but you're going to be featured on TV, whether it's Showtime, whether it's CBS. You're going to be featured probably in a top bout on national television where a national audience is watching you. I would say if it was me, I'd go to a couple high school gyms, I'd beat up a couple people there, I get a feel for the atmosphere, a feel for the MMA crowd, a feel for the fight game. Then I would say, all right, now I want to go and make myself available on national television. I want to fight on national TV, Showtime, CBS, something like that. But
but what if she goes to the local gym and loses? Then she's
true. That's true. Then she's screwed.
At least if she does it this way on TV, they get one fight out of her because they're going to build it up, and they'll have the audience for her for that fight. And if she loses, it's like, oh well, she's not going to be in it anyway. At least we got one fight out of her.
A lot of nerves, you know what I mean? I mean, the nervousness.
Yeah, but you got to think she's performed in front of much bigger crowds than anything she can see at Strikeforce.
But it's been a scripted match that she's performed in front of live crowds, not an actual.
No, but all you got to do is be comfortable in front of cameras and in a live audience. Because once the fight starts, you're not thinking about that anymore. You're thinking about, oh crap, somebody's trying to punch me. Let me punch him back.
Right. But the fight game is also a lot different than the wrestling game. You know what I mean? I mean, you're in there in an actual fight. I don't know. I'm going to agree. I'll agree to disagree. You know what I mean? I mean, if it was me, I know you say bring her right in, bring her to Strikeforce, and have her. And if she does come in, and if she
all that means is she's going to fight on TV if they bring her right into Strikeforce. It's not like she's jumping into the UFC where there's this like, oh, the talent level's so high there, she's not ready for it. There is no talent level in Strikeforce for women. There's 2 fighters that have, real scary credentials, and then everybody else is just people they bring in for those 2 to beat up. That's it.
If she wins her debut match on a Strikeforce national televised event, I mean, that makes her look even better. You know what I mean? But if she loses, it makes her, but the same thing like you said. If
they don't have anything riding on her. If she loses, it doesn't change anything for them as a company. Right. It doesn't affect them none. And I don't know. I mean, real quick, we're running past the time here, and I got to get to work still.
Yeah, I do too.
Gegard Mousasi made his American debut on the Strikeforce undercard in the same main event against Babalu, the Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. That fight was supposed to be on the Affliction card. That was going to have Fedor versus Josh Barnett, but when that card went under, Strikeforce adopted this match, and Mousasi looked amazing in this fight. I mean, he just blew right through Babalu. It took him literally 1 minute of the first round, and he knocked him out with punches, knocked him dead with punches on the ground. So very impressive from him. It's a big name to beat, and he's looking to be like a real contender. He's got a lot of big wins under his belt in Japan. I know he just beat Mark Hunt in in that Incredible Hulk tournament or whatever the hell they had going on. The big guys versus little guys that Jose Canseco fought in. So yeah, he's putting the wins together, and he's coming out of Brazil. He's a striker. He could be the real deal.
Yeah, Strike Force. I mean, those were the Those were the two main events. That fight.
Yeah. Well, we also had Gilbert Melendez versus Mitsuhiro Ishida in a rematch. That was Melendez's first ever loss. This was for interim lightweight title because it was supposed to be Melendez versus the current champion Josh Thompson. Yeah. But he broke his leg, so he wasn't able to fight. And Melendez defeated Ishida very easily, dominated him for 3 rounds, and then beat him with strikes in the 3rd round via TKO.
Let me ask you this. Because we had a big discussion. Melendez was introduced as the interim champion, right?
No.
Now, why wasn't the other guy, or maybe I have it reversed, but one of those guys was introduced as the interim champion. And when it was over, the winner of that fight was still the interim champion. So one of those guys, obviously Gilbert Melendez, now has to go on to face it. So is Josh Thompson still champion or what? Yeah,
well, I don't know if they introduced him as interim champion. That wouldn't be right if they did. That had to be an error.
Yeah, they did. No, they did because we were talking about it. We were talking about it here like what?
It was for an interim title, so it could be a 5-round fight, and so Melendez won the interim title. And then when he was interviewed, he said he didn't even consider it. He don't want it. The same thing George St. Pierre did before he unified the title with Matt Serra. He said it's not a real title. I don't want it. I'll get the real title when I get a rematch with Josh Thompson. Yeah, that's the next fight. That's guaranteed next fight. Josh Thompson versus Gilbert Melendez.
Yeah,
for the,
that's a fight right there. I mean, that's great. I'll look forward
it was
to
the first time, too. Yeah, it's an interesting fight, definitely. Melendez could pull it off this time. I don't know. The only other fight on the main card of this show was Fabricio Verdum versus Mike Kyle. And Verdum won via submission from a guillotine choke early in round 1, about a minute and a half into the round. Kyle was looking good up until that point. Even threatened with an armbar at one point, which was really shocking. But in the end, Verdum got him with the choke and made him tap out. So that was the Strikeforce show from San Jose, California. It's the biggest North American MMA attendance for any show that isn't promoted by the UFC or headlined by Frank Shamrock. So as far as
I didn't know that.
Bigger than any show, outside of UFC, bigger than any show in America, in North America, except for the Frank Shamrock versus Cesar Gracie fight, the Frank Shamrock versus Kung Lee fight, and the Frank Shamrock versus Nick Diaz fight, which were all Strikeforce fights as well. So, but yeah, it was like 12,000 and change, live in the building, paid. So that's a big house for them, and it was said to be a real electric crowd too for that fight. So.
Yeah, we had an electric crowd here in the.
I swear to God, the first minute and a half of that fight, I was literally watching through the cracks of my fingers, man. I was like so scared for Gina. I didn't want her to get hurt, man. I kept saying, Gina, don't do it. Gina, just don't do it. Don't do it. It's not too late. Just go home.
We had a big bash here on Saturday night. Me and my sick ass. We had a bunch of people here, and midnight rolls around, and they bring out the birthday cake, which I had no idea that they brought, and
Did they?
They did the whole thing, the whole birthday cake and the candles and everything. It surprised the shit out of me, man. I was in there working on I came in here to do a play-by-play update, MMA scoops between matches. I came back out into the living room there and had a big all the lights were off, and they did the old happy birthday, dear card, da-da-da. Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it, right? I mean, that's it until...
I'm satisfied. Let me get them plugs out the way real quick one more time. Check out MMAnews.com. As we just talked about the Strikeforce show, we've got the post-fight press conference from that, like an hour-long post-fight press conference. All this is free, by the way, video content. Video interviews with Gina Carano, Cyborg, Brett Rogers, Uriah Faber, Josh Koscheck from the UFC, Anthony Johnson from the UFC. Lots of good interview stuff on video for free. Log on right now, www.mmanews.com.
All right, check it out, MMAnews.com, as Matty B just said, lots of stuff over there. Post-Strikeforce interviews. So, Matty B, we got about, what?
We got an hour until
24 hours. Well, we got Monday Night Raw tonight. Freddie Prinze Jr. is host, and an hour till ROH, till ROH, and so we'll be back less than 24 hours from right now. Yeah. 23 hours and 50 minutes. I got to deal with your punk ass again.
For 2 hours. Jesus.
Yeah, and we'll tear it up for another 2 hours, baby, tomorrow night. We got a lot of news to talk about. Monday Night Raw from tonight, which is going to air here.
We should preview the SummerSlam pay-per-view, too. It'll be the last show we get to do before SummerSlam, unless we do a pre-show.
That's right. We'll do that tomorrow night. We'll do SummerSlam rundown, Raw from tonight, and the latest on the Kurt Angle situation, and a lot of other stuff. Less than 24 hours from now. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. What are we going to play when we go off here? I got one for you. Holly Berry. You ever hear that? Holly Berry. Holly Berry. Never heard that?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm going to play it anyway. So we'll see you guys less than 24 hours from right now. Tomorrow night, 7 to 9 Eastern Time, right here on WZROnline.com for Matt Boone.
That's me.
This is Ryan Clark.
That's him.
Saying see you next Tuesday. See you tomorrow night, 7 to 9 Eastern Time, right here on WZROnline.com. Later.
Boom!